Australians could be among the first in the world to receive a coronavirus vaccine after the government struck a deal with a British pharmaceutical giant. The agreement is with AstraZeneca to secure 25 million doses from Oxford University. If it proves to be safe and effective after clinical trials, Australia would manufacture and supply the medication. Prime Minister Scott Morrison says the research is among the world's most promising and could be rolled out in the next 6 months.
Today's a day of hope, and Australia needs hope, the world needs hope when it comes to this coronavirus. And should we be in a position for the trials to be successful, we would hope that this would be made available early next year. If it can be done sooner than that, great. And we're putting our hope in their science, in their work, and to ensure that they can bring these trials to a conclusion.
Now, the jab would be free and voluntary to all residents, which is great news, but we're going to go to Professor Nikolai Petrovsky and his team. Now, they have come from the Flinders University. They've just finished the first stage of human trials of a COVID vaccine and are now looking at moving into stage 2 trials. The team has created a vaccine called COVID Vax on our home soil without the help of funding grants or support from the government, despite the promising results in clinical trials. Professor Petrovsky says the government's vaccine deal is disappointing for the hundreds of Australians working towards a cure. He joins me now. Nicholas, great to see you again tonight on Sky News across Australia. Look, there would have been a lot of people waking up this morning saying this is good news. You're a little bit disappointed that they've gone to a UK study rather than investing in our own backyard.
Well, we're not so much disappointed that they're going, overseas. We would hope that they would, be looking for the best vaccines, and certainly our COVAX-19 vaccine is a great vaccine. We've already seen tremendous protection in ferrets and in monkey models. We've got great safety data in the phase 1 clinical trial and not seen any side effects. I mean, it has all the hallmarks of a great vaccine against COVID-19, which is homegrown. So we just don't understand why the government is sidelining us at this time and not supporting our vaccine along with the other ones that are being also developed in Australia, as well as, of course, looking at what's available overseas.
Nikolai, how do you get their attention, and have you demonstrated to the relevant medical people and the protocols that exist that you are a good vaccine, that this is a very good vaccine?
Absolutely. We've provided all of our data as it's come online, and of course, that takes time, and still even the Oxford vaccine has not shown that it actually works. So we've provided our data to the government, both on the fantastic results we've had in ferret and monkey studies in the United States, showing our vaccines highly protective. And obviously, as our phase 1 data becomes available in the next few weeks, we're very happy to share that with the government as well. So it's not a problem of us not sharing data, it's just they don't seem to be interested in even reviewing that data, let alone supporting local homegrown vaccine technologies.
Well, it's interesting, after this morning's announcement, the UK firm that is doing this research poured a bit of cold water on Morrison's announcement, saying no deal had specifically been done. And then CSL, the mob that would develop the vaccine here in Australia, were also a little bit apprehensive. Do you think they maybe got their wires crossed a little bit?
Well, I think so. As I said, the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine hasn't proved itself to actually work. What we do know is it has a high rate of side effects, and again, until all of that data is available, it would be premature to be spending an enormous amount of Australian taxpayers' dollars on a vaccine that simply hasn't yet shown itself to be effective or safe. So I would suggest they hold fire and in the meantime support research of the Australian vaccines.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because the suggestion of a mandatory COVID vaccine is incredibly controversial. I mean, it's been posted on the One Nation website in the last hour. There were 700 comments in 8 minutes. I mean, people will be justifiably a little bit concerned. When you talk about side effects, I mean, what type of side effects are we talking here?
Well, we only know what we've seen that's been reported from the phase 1 trials of the Oxford vaccine, where they reported a very high rate of high fevers in the subjects who received the vaccine. I think of the order of 30%, or 1 in 3 people got a fever after having the vaccine, along with symptoms like, you know, muscle soreness and tiredness and fatigue, which in some cases lasted up to a week after having the vaccine. So again, you know, they're not the sort of side effects that we like to see with a typical vaccine that we're going to give to the whole population.
I just want to ask you before we go about what's happening in Victoria. Incredibly tragic. The second wave, of course, now very much linked to those lax practices at the hotel quarantine for international visitors. Were you surprised that, you know, with the virility of this particular virus that we did get a second wave, or was it almost inevitable?
Well, certainly what we know about this virus is it's very readily transmissible, and half the people who have the virus don't have symptoms, so they can be out there in the community. And we also know that they can carry the virus, you know, for more than a month. So the very fact that we control the virus doesn't mean it's still not out there somewhere. And so it's really not surprising that, you know, if you then relax the social isolation rules, that if there is residual virus out there in the community, that you will get a second wave and a further outbreak. So we have to be very careful that whatever we do, you know, we do it in stages, so that if there is more virus out there, that we don't allow it to get out of control again.
Nikolai Petrovsky from Flinders University. Keep up the great work. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.